Hello everyone and welcome back to another tactic video. So today we are going to be looking at Luke Williams's new Swansea City team as well as his prior team Notts County and testing about how his style will work at both teams. Now we don't particularly know what he will be using at Swansea City. This video was recorded the day of his game against Morecambe as Swansea City manager, so I actually have no idea what's happened because it's not even time for that game to occur yet. So I have not watched it, but everything was set and written before looking at Notts County at this past season and the prior season to build this tactic. We're going to use data from Wisecout. We're going to talk about some things tactically as well as show you guys some examples and things like that that I think fit this team and just show you some ideas and some stuff like that. All the pictures that I got we referenced below, and there's an amazing article about how Notts County play last season that I took a lot of inspiration from and helped me write this and put this together, which I'll link below in the description. I really suggest you guys watch it. Well, read it. There's no video. But I would suggest you guys read it to get some of the ideas that I found and was helped with some pictures, which we'll be showing in this as well to give you guys some idea. But I'm really excited for it. I think he's going to be a great manager. I really like some of the ideas he has and the way he does stuff. Now, I will say I didn't totally get the right fit of stuff, everything to work. But there's a lot of things that did work really well, and we did get a lot of things like the proper shape and the proper things like that. And when it came to playing, and a lot of those things worked really, really well. And that was what I cared more about, was getting the right shape and the right passing networks and things like that. Some of the stats are not as good as I'd hope, but I do think that also comes down to the players and the traits. And I just felt that when you try to do some of those things, like the overpassing or the things like the super low tempo, the team just didn't have the momentum that they had because, I mean, we'll talk about one of the big things is the change in tempo that Luke Williams employs with his team based off what third of the pitch they are and the way the team shifts from wide to narrow as well, which is really hard to replicate in FM. So I tried my best to do some of that stuff, and you guys will see when I explain how stuff worked and how stuff didn't work when we talk about it in the tactic. So hope you guys are excited. I know I am, and I think it's going to be a really awesome video. So let's get into things. Okay, everyone, it's time to talk the tactics. So, Luke Williams has a interesting system in terms of some of the things he likes to do. Now, one of the biggest things, and probably the number one thing that needs to be talked about when it comes to Luke Williams playing, is his domination of possession. He is really big on making sure that the team dominates possession and controls the tempo to adjust game states within the match. So, he likes to control the ball, but also adjust the way his tempo moves as he's in different parts of the pitch, as well as adjusting the width of his players to further dictate said tempo. And that's what's really interesting about his tactics and the way he plays. Now, this leads to quite risky football at times. It can lead to a lot of mistakes and easy goals being conceded by people being pickpocketed and things. But it also creates really entertaining football and something that's really fun to watch and creates interesting rotations as well. As another thing he looks to do is create rotations, create space through rotations. And one of the big things he does with that is use them, especially in the final third, through using overlapping center backs, or having a 10 drift out wide, a wing back kind of drift in a little more, things like that, which create interesting shapes. And there is also lopsidedness to it, where the left-sided center back tends to push higher up the pitch, and the right-sided 10 tends to be a little more progressive coming outside and moving around, with the left-sided 8 dropping. Well, actually, these guys are more 6s than 8s, so I think we should probably make them 6s instead. But the left-sided, he's more of a 6. The left-sided 6 dropping in to kind of be the cover for him while he can come up here at times. And you'll have a combination play in the final third where you have the 10 here, the center back here, the wing back out here, and the 6 here, creating almost a diamond shape with these guys in this position, which is mental to think. But it's some of the neat things he does with his team and some of the interesting ways he creates these rotations in different shapes. So that's stuff we're going to talk about, but it's things that we want to discuss that happened first. Because when you get your idea that that's what you're looking for, you'll understand some of the stuff he does a little more with this team. Now, the first thing that we're going to talk about is the buildup. So in the buildup, the team looks to create certain kinds of shapes. And One of the shapes that they do look to create is kind of one that looks almost like this. So these guys will push high and kind of wide here. This guy will push a little more advanced and kind of he'll sit a little bit like this here. And what will happen is that he'll have the ball here. The goalkeeper kind of does support a bit, so he might be a little staggered. And whatever, another 6 there. But the wingbacks are high and wide, so they're able to get here, but they're high and wide, trying to pull strikers to them. Don't worry about the numbers, guys. Don't worry about the numbers. It's going to bother me too. They're going to pull the strikers, players out wide to press them. So when they get the ball, they can then go by them like this. So they have the space to dribble out wide. Or the other thing is, it creates kind of this like trapezoid-like shape where, let's go for white lines, where you have kind of this shape created between all of them. So this trapezoid kind of like shape like this, where there's these passing lanes all created. So you have all these different angles of passing lanes that are allowed to be done through the team. And that's one of the big ways they look to build up. The wingbacks get pushed high and wide. These guys are in these shape here, because with these guys wide, it's harder to deal with them. Now, one of the other things that happens too is that higher up the pitch, the 9 Langstaff stays really high, is that once the first pass is through, the midfielders here create a box midfield, these 4. They're very commonly in a box shape. So when this first line is through, then there's into this box shape of players here. The two kind of 6, the 8, and the 2 10s sit in this box formation here, and the wingbacks will tend to tuck in and come a lot tighter in this area so that they can have a triangle out wide here as well. So you almost get this shape kind of higher up the pitch once this first line is broken. The wingbacks, the wide center backs will then move forwards at times, depending on which side they'll have more impact or not. But you kind of get this almost shape coming out of it, where these guys are a little tighter and you get proper combinations from that. So some of the pictures that you can have, which we will, I will pull up for you. Hold on, I need to select the right picture. That's the different build-up shape. So here is the photo. One second. This is my bad. I have another browser open, which is not very useful at the moment. So this is from, there we go. Hopefully you guys can see that now. Yes, you kind of can. We're going to zoom up to this one so you guys can see a little more of what I'm talking about. So this is what we're, oh, actually you can't particularly see. But, so up in this picture up top here, this is what I'm mentioning about where you kind of see that shape. So you can see the box created here, this box midfield of these guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You see the wing back tucked in a little more. This guy's further out because the left side, this player pushes much higher. So he would come into this shape to create it here, which you can see the box, that's the triangle on that. That's the triangle on this side here as well. The striker pushing really high up. The wingback in this situation is high and wide, but normally that will kind of happen because there's also build up through the right side here, so it's slightly different. But again, that's what I was talking about, where you have that shape because you see triangle here, the 4, and the triangle created here. That's what I'm talking about, because that's the shape there, and you see that. This one, though, is a little different because he's come up into this area, mostly because the ball probably carried through this side here. And that's just the slight difference of it, but that's what you can see in terms of the buildup and the way that works at times. Now, these pictures are from, sorry, what's it called again? I always forget. Total Football Analysis. These guys are brilliant. I really recommend you look at this article on them. I'll link it in the description below. It's fantastic, and it really talks a lot about how the team does stuff and things like that. And the picture below, which you guys can sort of see, this is a key thing as well, because now it gets the wing back down the line. So they get a little 1-2, wing back gets down the line, and is able to then to cross into the middle where they have people crashing in. But we'll talk about that slightly a little more. But that's kind of some of the stuff for the build out there in terms of what we're looking for. Those structures in that, and that's kind of the shape we like to see with them in terms of it. The 9 really has no control in the build-up. It's a lot of these players, and the interchange of these two into this addition to help out with the box there is really, really important. So let's clear all these lines. Let's take these guys out, and let's talk about stuff in the final third. So, sorry, I am just reading my notes to see what the shape we need to create is. Moment here, everyone. All right, this is kind of a little bit more of what we tend to see from his teams in this area. So the 6 tends to drop in a little bit more and kind of cover this left center back role. The left center back tends to push up to some higher positions. The other center mid tends to push a little higher up. This guy's allowed to be over here, and you have this player here. Now, one of the things that happens is the right 10 has a lot more freedom to move and do things like that. He tends to move around a lot more. While the left 10 is a little more commonly just kind of an attacking midfielder, he doesn't help out a lot, but he has more players on his side to help combined with. So that's one thing that does occur. Now, when it comes to attacking, these two 10s are actually very, very important, because over here, it helps create triangles and other shapes like that. Like, so you got 2 triangles there, so you got all this stuff created here to help maintain. Excuse me, dying. And on this side, you have more triangles as well being created. So you have stuff like that being created over there as well with these players too, helping out. The 8's kind of the one in the middle. The 6 and the 8 can kind of change at times between who the fulcrum in this is, but it changes. It'll change around. But mainly, the 10s are really big about keeping the ball moving and ticking over in these areas. They're the ones that are moving up and down a lot, shifting around these areas, kind of sitting in these half spaces generally, looking to be able to be the ones that help move the ball out and get it into these wide areas where the team does look to cross. And we can see that because they have 19.47 crosses a game, which is a ton of crosses. It doesn't even rank in the highest in terms of teams, but they do cross the ball quite a lot. We look at according to Y Scouts stats, they have hit 571 crosses this season with 19.47 per game. And 304 from the right flank, 259 from the left flank. So as you guys can see, there's a lot more of them trying to get it down the right flank to cross it in, since there's a little more of a gap. While on the left flank, it's a lot more of trying to build the ball into the box for things along those lines there. Now, they do cross a lot to the 6-yard box, which can also be seen when players then crash in here. They all kind of go in like this and crash the box and then become options for players. For the cross there. And that's what you look to see from them. Now, the wingbacks are pretty much the solely responsible players when it comes to crossing. They are the main ones that you'll see cross, usually picking up positions around here or here for crosses most of the time. That's where they'll look to cross into the group of players in the middle here, where they are generally going to be the ones that are scoring them. Now, the other thing that does happen with it is because the team pushes forwards heavily, and you have a lot of players pushing high like this, a lot of times you'll see it where there's really only like 1 or maybe 2 guys kind of back. So it can get really, really risky play because you've pushed so many players high up the pitch looking for things to do and looking to score. So because of that, you can get snagged. So there's some games where they've had the player get like pressured here, pickpocketed, and the opponent just runs at the goalkeeper, who's then on his own and just scores. So it's something that's really risky about it, but because they play so high up and they're so congested in this area, the opponent has to drop everyone really, really deep, meaning they're not able to always be played through, which is why they like to cross a lot. But it also means that the defense is really stuck when they're trying to get out. So it's really, really difficult. And we can actually see this as well because the Notts County, as much as we do say like they're doing a lot of stuff, they're actually they don't even have that many compared to many others in terms of passes into the final third per 90. If we do look, they're what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th. They're 10th in the league for passes into the final third per 90 with only 55.57 per game. So even though they are doing quite well, they're around 4 to 5 passes behind almost everyone else each game, because they're willing, though, because they're one, willing to cross more, and two, pass around here, these kind of areas like this, a little more to help find that right pass or right decision to do it. And they're going to take their time with it. Now, that doesn't always mean that they don't get pickpocketed, but it's something that can be important. They do, though, when it comes to accuracy, they're the best at passing into the final third, meaning they'll be patient, take their time, create the proper movement to do so. And that's where players like this, the right 10, who has the freedom of movement to move around. This guy here will shift into spaces here, shift all around. This guy can move forwards and back. That's what you get from this team, is a lot of movement of different players. The other big thing that they do is they'll raise the tempo. In these areas, in the back here, when they're back here, it's a slower, more taking their time. Up the front here, it's ping, 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 ping. It's much, much quicker. And you can see that a lot happening from the team. Let me find, where's the other picture? Where's the other example of when the team is attacking? There's a great, sorry, I'm trying to find it. Here. So this photo right here, I'll show you the example. This one right here. So this one shows you the exact example of what I'm talking about in terms of the team helping out in these areas. So the guy you see over here to the side, so over to the left, is the left center back. I'll zoom in for you guys. So no, that actually doesn't help at all. But over to the left here is the left center back. He's going to move into this spot here. For this is John Bostock, the deep lying playmaker. This is the 8 here. That's the left winger. This is the 10, and that's the 9. So he's going to play it wide to the left center back, who's in the area right up here, who then can play it into the 10, who then can turn and do something with it. And that's what I'm talking about. This thing literally right here is exactly what you're seeing constructed. He's pushed up a little higher here. The 6 is over here. He's over here. Passed it back. Boom. Boom, into you, and now you have an opportunity to do something because there's numbers here and there's bodies. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, is the combination play up in the final third. And that kind of suits that stuff. I feel like I've said everything. I can be a little haphazard with these. Sorry, I can be quite haphazard with these because there's so many things going through my head. I always struggle a little bit to put it together and not make this about 300 minutes for you guys. But so those are just some of the things, obviously, that I did want to mention and talk about. So that's kind of the reasons you can see certain positions being certain stuff. So I'm going to better explain why certain things are certain things, and we'll go through a few of the pass maps and other things like that, as well as some goals to go along with it, and you guys can truly see the difference it does make. All right, so first we're going to start off with Notts County. I mean, that's obviously the number one team we got to start off with. So the tactic got Notts County first place, 26 wins, 14 draws, and 6 losses, with a 48 goal difference. Now, look at the overview. Somehow they're amazing when it comes to defending, which is just hilarious to me. But the team itself scored 104 goals, which is what you want to see. The team is going to score loads and loads of goals. If we look at Y-Scout stats again, and we go to attacking, and we go to shots, we look at per 90. They're actually not the most per 90. Where do I want overview? No, goals. We want goals. Notts County, the most goals in the league. So just giving you an idea of how many goals they have scored. They're the most in the league. So 55 goals in the league through 26 games. 20 more games, they almost double their tally, which seems pretty reasonable to me with this. We pretty much the same exact goals per game average. And they highly overperform their XG, which is pretty common for us as well. They got their better defense has helped them out, but it's just some things in terms of that you can look at and see. Now the team itself, if we do look at some of the other underlying numbers and stats here, team detailed, let's go down to here what we want to look at first. So we look at crosses. They really struggle to complete their crosses, which is not great. But if you look at crosses completed, they're up there with 228. So lots and lots of crosses. If we do the math with my handy dandy calculator, which I probably should have done before, don't know why I didn't do that. So we do... no, wait, oops. Comes out to about 5 a game, which is quite low. But again, everyone kind of, it's around not too far off everyone else, but it's at 5 a game. If we do look at their attack in general, they put in about 20 a game, so it might just be that the stats are a little different, because it says they've put in 571 so far, so... oh, this is just completed, sorry. But their accuracy, if we do look at their own accuracy, is in the 30s, so not that great, but again, ours is kind of relative to everyone else, around the same ranking they are in real life, which is good to see. So if we see pass completion, cross completion, not pass completion, ratio, they're up in the 88%, and if we do look at Notts County in terms of that, they are sitting at 88% in real life, so we're almost on the money exactly in terms of that. If we look at passes completed, again, it's hard to totally say, but we look at them, they're at 16, they're already at 16,000. We unfortunately don't pass as much as they do. The tactics just didn't really work that way, but so lots of passes. I wish there was more passes, unfortunately, which I just couldn't really get to work so well. But again, what are you going to do in that sense there? So we're really good in terms of those numbers there. And if we look at dribbles, we really high amount of dribbles. And if we look at Knots, they are really high in terms of dribbles. They're third most dribbles in the league. Yes, we took the cake for the most. These are successful dribbles per 90. They're at 25.775. They are at 56.1%. We are at 57%. So again, really consistent numbers, really matching a lot of the real life stuff. And if we go per 90, and we are 662, dribbles per game 14.3, and they are at this is attempted, not total. So this is unfortunately just this is completed dribbles. It doesn't show us total dribbles, but I don't have completed dribbles up here. But still, that's just something to do. I mean, they are 25.77, and they're about 50% of them. And yeah, I mean that makes sense. We're around the same thing, because they're going to be about 12-something%. So again, very similar numbers. We're hitting these almost on the head with all the stuff for the tactic there. If we go to team overview, we just go to possession here. We're at 57%. Not in real life, 66.8%. Unfortunately, we weren't able to do that many in terms of that, which does suck. But, you know, there's a lot of stuff here that I'm really happy about, because it's very similar to real life, and that's what I'm really happy to see, because we got stuff very similar in those sense, and a lot of that stuff alike as well. Now, if we do go and look at the team itself and look at some of these passing networks, you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about in terms of this. So you have that wide triangle of there, the two wide center backs, you have the wing backs high and wide, you have the 2 6s, so Bostock and Palmer being there, you get that trapezoid shape I was talking about, you then get that box midfield in front of them, and you get the 9 sitting high above, which is exactly what we're talking about and we were looking for when it came to building this tactic. Again, you can see it here. These guys are on the same line as then. You have those 3, that trapezoid shape, the box midfield in front. It's exactly what we're talking about in terms of the shape, and we want the way this team to work. And I'm so happy it's worked that way. It's really good that it's done so well. Oh, I think the Morecambe game was good as well if we look at it. Slightly different. The 9 really only worked back here, but again, with the exception of him only really having a few passes back here, which he's not required to be in build-up, so when his passes are probably going to be much deeper. But if you take him out of it, because he's normally going to be, if we look at the heat map, he's really high up the pitch. He's really high up there, so those passing metrics for him, don't worry about. We see the shape. It's exactly what I'm talking about. The 3 in the back, the 2 players in front creating that trapezoid-like shape, and then the box midfield in front of it, these guys creating that kind of triangle out wide. This triangle here for them as well. It's exactly what I'm talking about at the beginning to this. It is a perfect representation of it, and I love it. It's great. It looks brilliant, and I'm so happy with that. So that's just really, really good, and it's great to see how that works. I'm going to just stop right now so I can show you guys some goals. I won't have to deal with all the processing and all those annoying things like that. But just quickly, we see how well the team did do in the Cups. Lost in the first round here and lost pretty early on here, but they made the FA Cup quarterfinal somehow, which I just have to highlight as being insane. They beat Coventry 5-1, MK Dons 3-1, and they beat Bournemouth 3-2. They also beat Harrogate in a replay, Coventry in a replay, and MK Dons in a replay, which is just kind of funny to me. But they went on an amazing cup run, which is crazy to see, and they got hammered by Liverpool. But still, really, really cool stuff to see there in terms of the squad stats. If we look here, Langstaff got the most goals. McGoldrick was not too far behind. Crowley, the left attacking mid, got a lot of goals and assists, which we can see a lot. I can't unfortunately see how many assists Langstaff got from certain players, but very, very common for those. These guys played in the 10 positions, which is what we're thinking about. A lot of goals and assists for those guys there. Then if we look at the wing backs, they got a lot themselves, which is nice to see here. And then how did Cameron do? Got 8 assists from the left center back role as well. So you can really see how well it did work in terms of that stuff there. And if we do look at, say, the Notts County team in real life, sorry. So if you look at goals, look at goals, in real life, Langstaff's got 23 goals. If we look at assists, Jones, who I don't actually know what position Jones normally plays. He normally plays on the left back. For us, it's been mainly, where is he? No, it has been Jones, actually. Jones has been the main guy at that left wing back role. He's got 12 assists in this. He's got 8 assists. The other guy on our other side got 14 assists. So you can see we are matching their kind of main assisters as well. Crowley in real life, where these guys so far has 6 assists, which is good to see if we look at his profile and see how many he's got in terms of goals. He's got 10 goals and, sorry, I'm trying to see this. 10 goals and 6 assists, which is great. It's really fitting what we want to see from Crowley. He's got pretty similar numbers for both. So again, it's exactly what we want to see in terms of this stuff being the exact same things of like, this guy's doing this in this tactic and he's doing this in real life, and it's really nailing the head on the coffin, and I love to see it because it's almost identical in nearly every single way. So I'm going to show you guys a few goals of just how they were constructed and how they were scored, and then we'll look a little bit at Swansea and then we'll finish up. So here's a really good example of a goal coming from the out to in thing that I mentioned before. So if we just go to the data analyst mode and we can look here just quickly. So if you look at this, so the buildup here is going, it's that shape where I told you the really far ones, the 6 can drop in, creating that kind of trapezoid shape as he did. You see the shape here, 1, 2, 3, the 2 guys there, the wing backs high and wide, and these guys here with that box midfield being created in addition to it. Now we see Cameron's got it here. We see that shape again, which is created. He's here. We now see the box kind of created with these 4 guys. He can be that extra player there. And then the line of people here, which is good to see. So Cameron plays it to Jones. Now they go inside, which I was talking about. Play inside here. Great ball forward. McGoldrick clips it onto Crowley and goal. And that's exactly what I was saying with this team, is that they go wide and then they tuck inside, and that's exactly what you want to see from them. Tuck inside. The second they see the opportunity in the final third, boom, tempo switch. Because if you look here as well, early on, the team itself, they're taking their time in build-up, right? They're doing their thing. They're passing around. Like here, if we see, they win it back. When they get something forwards, pass in here, can't. All right, go forwards, can't get anything forwards. We're going to turn it back and pass here. And they're taking their time. They're taking their time to build it up. There's no rush to get it forwards. The next pass on, now they've got it. All right, we can get a wide here. There's space. Cameron can dribble forwards a bit. Can't find anything. You can find someone now. Jones like, oh shit, there's a move. Now, play. Oh, there's a chance. Quick. And goal. And that's what I'm saying. The slow build up to the really quick attack in the final third. And that's a great, great example of what exactly I'm looking for with this team. So here's another example of a goal coming from out wide, as I mentioned, where they're getting look to get the crosses in. So Chiskin's going to get it here in a ton of space. Gets his cross off by getting to the line. Langstaff just can't direct it goalwards, but McGoldrick is there. Can bring it back down. He's going to cross again, and now O'Brien's rushing in to score. And that's the thing I was also saying, where you had that extra guy running in too to get the goal, and you're always having targeted in the box to cross to with this team as well. It's why they put in a lot of crosses, because there's always people going in and crashing the box as well. Okay, guys, it's time to talk about Swansea. So things not as good for them here. Not as many goals, and they're not as good defensively as these other guys here. But if we do look, there are some similar themes. Now, the guys that played up top a lot did get most of the goals. So they're the ones that scored the most, which is kind of what we expect from this system. We look at the wingbacks, they got a lot of goals there. We look at the guys that played in the 10 position, they had a good share of goals and assists. Again, other side getting a lot of those there. Joe Allen playing, I believe, in the kind of deep line playmaker role. Yes, he was there. I don't know who played the left center back role. I'm going to assume it was Grimes, probably. No, he played the DM role. Don't know who played. Maybe it's Cabango. But whoever played the wide center back and attack role probably didn't do as much. Pedersen might have played it a lot. Yeah, so he probably played it a ton. And you can see, I mean, 1 goal, 2 assists, but some similar themes here. Not as good as the others, but some similar stuff for it. If we do go to here, and we go to some stats more detailed, and we look at things, pass completion, again, not up around the, where we had it at the 80s. Let me just pull up Y-Scout again. If we go back to teams, and we go back to general, and we go to ball not possession. I want construction. I want passes. If we look at accuracy, again, up in the 80s. Again, we are up in the 80s as well in terms of passing accuracy. Passes completed, we were nowhere near as much, but that's also going to make sense. We're not as good, and we're not good enough to control the ball as those guys, though we still did have a lot for a team that finished kind of where we were. If we looked at crosses completed, we completed some of the most crosses in the league. As expected, we had a pretty poor cross completion percentage of 13%. And if you do the opposite of that, which is 3 times 6, we put in about we put in a lot of crosses. What is it? No, I did that wrong. That can't be right. Hold on, let me see. I'm messing up my math. But we put in a ton of crosses. In essence, if we completed 206, and that's about 10% of them, you can assume that that we've tried about like 2,000 crosses or something in a season. So, in essence, we put in a lot of crosses, and like Notts County put in a ton as well. So there's a lot of crosses that we tried to put in, which is very similar. On top of that, dribbles, we weren't very good at dribbling. We didn't do a lot, but again, dribbles per game, not as much, which is unfortunate, but it's just, I think also just because they're not as good in this league, it's going to be a lot harder to do. They weren't able to control as much possession as well, like sustaining 50%. But I do expect things to be slightly different with Williams at the helm, and I do think this team is going to be struggling a little bit more because they're not as good. If you look at the team itself, they're predicted like 18th or something, 15th in the league, so they're not very good. You can all see my amazing RPJ tactics dude, who is, I literally just clicked the first person, which is this bald guy with glasses. He's great, but not as the same. So I do think Swansea will have a lot to look forward to. I think the system can work well. I mean, we see the team finishing up in 8th, doing very well, 72. Obviously, if we do look at goals scored, goals conceded, we're expecting a pretty even split. Knots are looking like that in real life now anyways. So there's a lot of good, I think, in this team, but I think he's going to need a few players to truly get this system to work perfectly. Because if you look, Pedersen can probably do a good job there. Like that, I have no doubt. But his passing isn't that great in the end for me. I think he's probably wanting someone a lot better with passing there. Again, like, let's see here. Like, Darling's actually going to be quite good for him. Like, he'll make a good use of himself. Wood is all right, but I do think, like, defensively already I can see I don't think they're going to be that good in terms of the passing. Midfield-wise, I think he's going to be great. He's got some good players with good movement. He's got a lot of deep-lying playmakers. He's set in that department. Wingbacks, Kelly, brilliant. Looks like he'll be fine for him, but I don't know about Kyle Naughton. Probably needs a little help there. Left side, he's got some good options too, so I think he'll be pretty much covered there. In this department, I don't really know. Cooper, you might probably going to need some more besides just Cooper there. Up top, you do have some good options though, so we'll see. He's probably going to have to change things around a little bit for this team. I don't know if he can go with this system. Maybe he'll go 4-4-2 to start, 4-3-3 to start or something like that. Get some more out of these guys, because I know Swansea have wingers as well. I don't know, is Balassi on this team? No, in real life, I know he's on the team. But I guess I believe he is. I think he's on Swansea. But they do have some guys that play out wide a little more. So, I don't know, I mean, yeah, I will see. But there's some stuff here and there, and the team has been playing out wide. Has been playing with wide players for a bit so far this season. So we'll see what he does. But I do think there's a good chance he can do quite well, and the team did work quite well with this tactic in the game, so it was a good shot for them. They did actually hang around to come to the upper part of the table as well, sitting in the 6th position for a good chunk of the season. So I like the look of it, and I think there's going to be some good chances for them to be able to do some stuff. So, the Luke Williams 3-4-2-1 tactic now. Time to get into what this is going to look like. So, in goal, we have a superkeeper on support with no additional instructions. Wide center back on support on the right with dribble more. A ball-playing defender in the middle on cover with pass it shorter and take more risks. A wide center back on attack on the left with dribble more, cross more often, cross from byline, and stay wider. They'll already be added. You can tell if they're dark green and kind of grayed out like that, they cannot be adjusted. Those are set. Whereas you can add the ones with the little cog and the little removal arrow, the button. Those are ones that show they are the highlighted green. On the right, a wingback on attack with cross more often and stay wider, as well as gets cross from byline and get further forward. On the left, a wingback on attack with the exact same instructions of cross more often and stay wider. The right center mid is a segundo volante, right defensive mid, I should say, segundo volante with just the instruction of tackle harder. The left side is a deep lying playmaker on support with shoot less often, take more risks, and hold position. Now, you can, if you want, go defensive on a deep lying player or on defend and bring this guy to support if you want as well. Just if you're playing against like a bigger team and you just want to kind of be a little more defensive, and then you can also take him onto support and put this guy on defend. This will be a little better against one or more of the stronger teams where you're not as able to do stuff. You can even have him become on defend. This will just take a lot of the it'll take more risks out of a lot of these positions, so your team won't be as risky and won't make as many risky decisions. And they're more willing to kind of be a little safer with their play, and that can then obviously work in your favor because you're not risking it and causing any problems like that. So just something that can happen, and one that I would suggest doing if you're coming up against a stronger team. Now, your left attacking mid is an attacking midfielder on support with a move into channels and tackle harder. Your right attacking mid is an advanced playmaker on attack with move into channels. This obviously will have these guys sitting in these half spaces, which I mentioned before being very key to the way they play. And finally, up top is an advanced forward. I found Poacher works well as well, but I had a little more success with the advanced forward on this one. Feel free to swap between the two, though. There is no crime to either. I feel they both work brilliant in this system. Now, your team mentality is a positive mentality with shorter passing, fairly wide attacking width, overlaps on either side, playing out of defense with a shorter passing directness, a standard tempo. You look to work the ball into the box, and no other instructions there. You could go low crosses if you want, but I feel that there's times that Notts County will whip in deeper balls, so there's no need to really worry about having low crosses on, because you want them to have some mixed ones at times as well. Now, the team looks to counter press when they've lost the ball. They're very aggressive. They're high up the pitch. They want to win it back as quickly as possible. When it comes to in possession, the goalkeeper will look to slow the pace down, distribute to his center backs, and take short kicks. Again, we want to play it out from the back. We want to get those guys wide, create our shape that we're looking to do. Now, you can, if you need to chase a goal, add counter on, or if you want to really retain possession, you can have hold shape. I had hold shape on when possession was won in the past, but I found sometimes that it led to the team just retaining the ball too much and not scoring and creating enough chances. So I did take it off, but if you do want to really maintain more of the ball, I would suggest putting on hold shape, as that will make a big difference for you. Now, as well, the team has a high press and a much higher line of engagements. The team looks to step up more and press much more often. Now, I don't do a press short on goalkeeper distribution, as they don't always do that, and they're not crazily aggressive with their fouls or anything, so we don't have any of that going there. You could do trap outside, as I do find they do that occasionally when I was looking at things, but overall it seems to just be more of a very proactive counter press and stepping up to be aggressive with their super high line looking to play an offside trap. So that is the Luke Williams 3-4-2-1 tactic. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I know I'm excited to see how Luke Williams will do at Swansea, and I think a lot of you will be as well. So hopefully he beat Morecambe today. We'll have to check out afterwards and see how that all went down. Well, everyone, I hope you guys did enjoy another amazing tactics video. I really actually enjoyed putting this one for Luke Williams together. It was a fun challenge, and especially on short notice, I was really happy to have everything work out so well and it to come together in the way it did. But it was a lot of fun to work on this one, and if you guys do have any other suggestions or ideas of some fun and interesting tactics of teams you guys are interested in, I know I have quite a long list of some coming out, and I'm really excited for them. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot of fun ones that we're gonna be doing come future, and I hope you guys are ready for it. We're gonna obviously be pushing a lot more towards that field of things on this channel come this year. I want to focus more on real life stuff, using a lot of the tactical stuff that I like to do, and watching these games and just making it a lot more fun, because I find that more fun, so we're gonna stick to it. But if you guys do want some more wacky tactics or different things like that, do let me know. I'm happy to try those things out as well. It's fun to kind of find a mix between real life and not stuff, so do let me know. But yeah, no, I love this one. I thought it was a great tactic, and I'm really excited to see how it develops and works with a team that you could really build with it. And I do think he'll do quite well at Swansea. I think their team is decently suited to it. I think players like Patino are going to be fantastic. Matty Grimes will work really well in the defensive positions there. Yeah, I mean, Yannick Bolasie probably doesn't work as well as others, but, you know, I don't know, there's some good there that I think this team can do, and I'm excited to see what happens with them, because I think he'll be a very good choice for them. Now, we know it'll be a lot of goals and a bit of a leaky defense, but, you know, it's fun to watch, and who doesn't love goals? So, Swansea City fans, be excited. I think you've had a great manager. And hopefully, by the time this is all edited and finished, I'll be looking at the scoreline and see he's beat Morecambe, and my prediction's right. Or he'll have lost to Morecambe 5-0, and I'll be completely wrong. So, that'll be a funny one. But, once again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more tactic videos. And I'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one.